Okay. I guess plans is done. Nothing to stream, so I may as well make another little post video instead of a pre plans video. So post plans, obviously we have our winners, right? The Hounds and the Glads. Don't get look. We'll just go down the list. The Hounds. People had as second favorite. I would comfortably say that most people had these guys as the second favorite, and the Wargs, who didn't make it, as the favorite. I thought that these guys would definitely be the favorite. Especially my like I said in my last video, I just think that these guys are the tournament players. Um, and that was without any of hindsight, right? In hindsight, Oath had the best grasp on jungle, and I think some people are gonna disagree with that, but I think he had the best Bluestone abuse at the tournament. 10.1, Bluestone was really, really strong. And while everyone was saying he's AFK, he's doing nothing. He was just scaling. He had it. The team, I'll say the team, not just him. The Hounds had a specific win con that let them coast, no pun intended, through the tournament. They just got to coast, hit level 20. Oath would half health people, and then they'd force the issue off that, or they'll just hold W with Ducky's Vamana, or Ducky would press Thor and poke, and then all of a sudden Cleo pokes as well. They just had the best poke win con in the game, and they understood how to siege, probably the best in the game. Their fires were the best in the game, and that's why they came first. And I just thought they would just show up better. I just thought on the day that these guys would just play better than the Wargs, and I thought the Wargs would come second. Just to go through the team real quick, Coast ADC and Quig in support. Both players have probably been next up, which is just a term that everyone throws around. Benny in mid, quick little disclaimer. Benny is a tablet hater. He was a tablet hater at 10.1, and remember at 10.1, it was only 0.08% of true damage. So I was freaking out because he's not doing 0.014%, or, it wasn't buff tablet at that point. Okay, that's one thing I had to kind of reality check myself into. And for most of the tournament, I still think he was griefing by not buying it. But when it mattered in the walk set, it was actually a mid diff. And in the reason that the amount of pressure he put on Krim to never be full HP, because he would be playing Melon or Tiamat and just poking relentlessly while clearing somehow. Don't know how that happens, but he was. Is insane. Obviously, he had the little bit about Snoopy dying, but Snoopy just completely misplayed. Benny could have built bloody, I don't know, Shield of Regrowth or something and still killed Snoopy there. But I think his Divine Rush did matter at the end. And I think Oath obviously had the best jungle builds, and because no one else was abusing it. And I think in tournaments like this, it is insane that no other teams were jumping on the Bluestone bandwagon as heavy as Oath was, and playing that win con as heavy as Oath was. People were very skirmishy, very boxy, which is going to happen when it's an SCC tournament. I get that. But do not just watch Oath play the game after he's beaten you with it and be like, okay, we either ban 3 junglers that are good Bluestone junglers and we force him onto something, which the Wargs kind of forced him onto set, or we have to hunt him. We have to find him and UCC and not let him scale. It's obviously a lot easier to just do what he's doing than to somehow try to adapt your play to counter it, which is just so hard in a tournament setting, showing up the next day. So I was surprised that no one else did what he was doing, taking the Cleo away, playing Loki into Cleo or something like that. Like, just being an absolute nuisance with Bluestone Heartseeker Crusher. I think Ducky looked like obviously the strongest solo in the tournament. Once again, his build on Thor, it sucked. I don't get solid on Thor. He is obviously comfortable with it. He likes how it feels, which at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And then Chuckles is a back-to-back world champion. OCE coach, like, how can you go wrong there? And then second team that made it. I won't talk about one person because it's too controversial right now. That's all I'm going to say about Dude Man. Too controversial right now. I am not saying anything. My take is here. We follow each other. He doesn't block me. My take is staying here because he is. Fuck. I'll just say he's done wrong things. Will he get banned? Unsure. Is it warranted if he does get banned? Sure. He's done bad things. How many other people have done bad things and still been SPL? How many people have been banned for 2 weeks and come back? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to be the judge in that situation. Where do the scales fall? If he's banned, then all these other people should get banned. If he's perma-banned, that's really bad. But Julio was perma-banned. Like, how do you weigh things when it comes to death threats and racism and sexism? All of it is negative. All negative. All I'm going to say. Now to the positives of the Glads. They made us feel, hey, well done, everybody. This team should not have had a close set against the Wardens, I will say that. And on the flip side, this team should not, to be honest, should not have beaten the Wargs, right? Just off name power alone, they should not have beaten the Wargs, okay? Gamma versus Bobby. Bobby. Everyone probably thinks Gamma's better. Snoopy versus Krim. Most people think Krim's better. Sam for Soccer, world champion. Super consistent jungler, always top teams, you know, top rated jungler. Apart from, like, you know, I'll keep my mouth shut. Versus Kermi, who obviously I think is super talented. And I think has a lot of potential because bias, but bottom place jungler. And then Belair versus Belair versus Aqua. That's the only real toss-up. People think Scary D is really good. I, again, am super biased. I think Aqua's just an insane human with his... I just think he's one of the best players ever. I think Aqua is probably one of the best players ever. And then Kasir, their coach all the way from Spain. Super happy that Kermi gets more experience with a different outlook on the game. I think another year with me and him should have never been a thing anyway, so I hope he continues to grow. I know that Bobby, Kasir obviously have that chemistry, and I'm happy for them to continue moving forward with this squad. Insane comeback. The amount of mental resilience they had to reverse sweep is just absolutely disgusting. Now on to LAN, okay? On to some things that I want to ramble about, other than the teams and the players, okay? If anyone is ever going to get coached by Sharks, this guy right here, this is step one. Valks didn't really have a system implemented. We were just friends, and it honestly, it was the best year and the worst year of my life because we were just fucking around all year. And I was just like, what are we even doing? Why am I awake? But step one of any team ever is to understand the 3 laws, the 3 fundamentals of a MOBA. The reason these are the fundamentals of a MOBA is because these aren't game mechanics. These are things that exist in every single MOBA there is. If you're playing Dota, if you're playing League, if you're playing Smite, if you're playing Wild Rift, if you're on the Switch, you're playing Arena of Valor, if you're playing, like, I don't know, the awesome show MOBA that was on CartoonNetwork.com. All these things still exist. I normally call it the tip system. Tempo, info, prio, or tempo, info, pressure, tip, you know, remember the tip. And the way that these things relate to each other is like a triangle. They're always, and you can go any way you want, right? So time can give you vision. Use your time to get vision. Vision can be used for pressure. Info can be used for priority. You can bounce between these 3 things at all times, and when all these 3 things line up, it's always pretty much a perfect play with no counter playability, right? It's just fundamentally good. This is just more like time can give you vision, which then gives you pressure or prio, right? If you have tempo, if you have vision, you can use the tempo and vision and info to use your tempo, pressure the map. To give a real example of this system in play, I was super impressed with the Tanuki. With every team, he was hats off to the Tanuki, right? Real quick, I'm going to actually watch it at 1x speed and do a 1 playthrough breakdown. If you're the Valhalla Valkyrie, send 3 to solo, but so the way gotta get the kill. Rundus dodges out the Mystic Rush. So the way that works is the gank on Rundus is fine. This is the Valks using pressure. But what does 3 people in solo do? It gives info to the Tanuki that, hey, we have a lot of time and pressure to impact the rest of the map. So Tanuki use the information and they pressure Warchi and the tower, okay? Which is very good. Warchi also ints, yes, mechanically misplay, but this is the pressure that's been used. Very good. Vulcan will always out-prioritize Tiamat in the mid. And the only thing that's not being used right now is vision or information. Okay, so they had priority in both lanes. If you saw that on the mid, Vulcan rotates from mid with his priority to get vision. Shinigami and Promise use pressure into pressure. They hit the hell out of Wachi. I can't see. Did Wachi use beads? He didn't. He used his ult. That's another information slash pressure. Ult being used. But that's more smite. Doesn't matter. Look at the amount of information that they put on the map. The amount of vision that they put on the map, okay? Farming aside and priority aside, super ward by XD in mid. Super ward that's already been placed by Promise at... I mean, no, that's not by placed by Promise. He's about to put it down now. They have a full line of vision across the map. Info, vision. Now, all that's left, setting up for gold, obviously. They get priority in both lanes, super hard. They rotate the payload to mid, free up that Vulcan. They have info, they have priority, and then they just pressure the map with Gold Fury. Okay? And now you may think, obviously, Sharks, that's the most basic play in the world. But the fact that a team with... It's a pickup team. These guys are a pickup team. They've come to LAN, and they've done that play, which sure, it's only a minute, and it's just a normal gold setup. But if they continued to do that, and be that disciplined, there was no distraction, there was no looking for Wachi after he ulted, there was no, oh, maybe we go a bit diver on that green, a bit deeper on that green pit to put that ward further down. The amount of discipline that play shows is that was like the tiny, minuscule SPL level of the Tanuki. Right? The next goal they do, they attempt to do it. I'll show you. The rest of this game is not. Yeah. They attempt it. I'll show you a failed attempt at it. They set it up again, right? They have info everywhere.
Pacing everyone in this game. The farm has been there as well as the kills.
And what they don't do is they don't get priority again, which gives the other time too much time and too much prayer, right? The time just was not good. Time management was very poor. So they had no priority in mid, which gave Tiamat a free wave to shove in, and then they have free rotation into a deep position. That's why priority is important, right? Time and info was good, but there was no prio in mid, which gives a very messed up position that the enemy team can do. Obviously, they think they have pressure. This fight turns into a mechanical nightmare, so there's no point really watching it. I guess you guys can watch it again for Rotwin's, like, pentataunt. Beautiful. But in reality, if you put these guys in a sandbox fight, that fight's going to be different every bloody time. I'm just talking about the fundamentals of not pushing mid and then, like, you know, not having fundamentals down. Anyway, that's just a little Sharks Rumble, little bonus for you. The next things I was going to talk about is the Hounds sieging and fire dancing. And the reason why I think they won the tournament so easy with their win condition. Now, this game's kind of an outlier because Oath, you'll see, is on set with Eye Protector, not a Bluestone poking jungle, right? He also knows that, God, voice crack, he also knows that Set, one of the best duelists in the game, like, his job is either clean up or 1v1, right? That's why you draft Set. You draft it as poker the game, sure, clean up or 1v1. Now, why nobody else does this, I don't know. They end up losing this game because the execution was bad, but the fundamentals were still nearly perfect. Oath splits the map because it's a monkey, right? Team fighting god, engage god versus duelist god. This is always fine. This is always good for the Hounds to have their duelist drag a team fighter away. It doesn't matter if it's the Hades or the Humbats in this game, right? They're both team fighting gods. One of them has to go away and answer, which makes the team fight massively weaker for the side of the Wargs. So this fight, let alone thinking about Quig being on a healer, which gives, you know, a poke trade with Yu Huang and Coast pick, like this draft with double sustain, double poke, and then Oath splitting the map is such a beautiful 4-1 draft. And I don't know if that's what they went in with the intention of doing, but it's sick. right? They pull up the play. What's they pull up the play so well. Like, sure, he has to use his beads, but now you're in a power play position with a perfect fire play, right? The only thing that goes poor. This is a free siege. They do it again. Okay, they do it again with miscommunication for sure. Okay, when Oath is pushing the other side bird, there was no pressure on the other team. I'll show you. So here, these four have no pressure on them. The core of the hounds have no pressure on them. So Oath actually doesn't have to do a thing. The thing is that Oath was doing too much at this point, and he completely blundered the end game. To be honest, he just had to shove that wave. And then do the 4-1 position with this wave pushed up and the hounds in mid. This fight, the 4-1 would have been good if the hounds were already on mid bird, but they weren't. They were on right bird with no pressure, right? And then at this point, it's still fine if the hounds leave and leave Ducky in to die. They've got double bird. They just need to defend their birds, right? It's still a great trade to get double bird down, no matter what. Especially with FG on such a short cooldown, to get EFG and siege that fast was great play by the hounds. They just completely blunder here and fight. But it's just like, I loved their fundamental sieging and fundamental fire dancing, whether it be the poke comps with Oath's Bluestone at fire, which just decimated everyone, or that 1-4. And the reason I'm talking about this 1-4 is because it's, just remember this formula, okay? It is double team fight with a great burst assassin, okay? Beautiful 4-1 every draft. Now, how did the Wargs in game 5 lose with EFG and the exact same formula, right? The exact same draft formula. It is Scary D and Kermie. Oh no. Scary D and Kermie are both on team fight gods. And Sam is on a pseudo cleanup. Like, this 1-4 for the Wargs is not as strong as it was for the Hounds, but it is still the fundamental correct play, right? I'll have to slow it down because I've accidentally got on 2 times. If you watch this, look how they siege until they reach the bird phase. Sam sieges here, Aqua pins someone in mid, and then they just have a roaming Hebo for poke, and this is complete fake pressure. This is another pin. How does this team siege? Crimson needed a Polynomicon, which he doesn't have, which is completely fine. I don't give a fuck about builds. I do think it's dumb he doesn't have Polynomicon because it makes sieging so much easier. But he's a better player than I am. A better player than most people in the world are. His binding play, Tahuti play, probably played it a lot more than we have. We should shut the fuck up. Not that hard. But fundamentally, it makes no sense that Sam rotates because he either pulls the monkey away, which gives a free 4 engage, or he pulls the Odin away, which gives another free brute force engage. And it is insane that he doesn't 1-4. It is criminal. That Snoopy misses dragons, and I think they win the game off it. I'm unsure. I wasn't in comms, but I think the Wargs get baited because Snoopy doesn't have dragons. We should go. No. It's just, no. He's still got poke range on both backliners. They still have double team fight ults, triple team fight ults if you're going to count inbound as well. The 1-4 win con was so free right here, and it's just not in the brain. It's just not there. And the reason I'm harping on this is because everyone sieged like absolute dog shit at this LAN. This made me them, and I've spent 2 years crying about sieges. The amount of times the Valks had EFG or FG and 2 birds down and we couldn't fucking end the game is insane. And I think that we are, as a collective, as a Smite collective, the tier 4 MOBA, like, you know, the joke MOBA. And I think this is, it's not half the problem. It's just a massive glaring issue that you could run boot camps on sieging. There needs to be something fixed. Because if anything like this happens in the SPL, I don't want to watch it anymore. I like, all right, look, I'm going to start tangenting. We'll watch what happens. So instead of Sam coming over, he has EFG. He could 3-shot that fucking bird, by the way. He could delete this right bird. They could reset. He could do it again. They could sit mid. Sam in left lane. Keep the 1-4 going. But because Snoopy misses dragons, they just sit here and they try to siege. And Myth was way too hypercritical on Freya, the worst damaging structure thing in the world. It doesn't matter. It does not matter when you have EFG and a fucking assassin with that build. The amount of power that he's holding right now. And the thing is, you're able to go over there, hit it 4 times. He has enough mobility to get out. EFG sustain. Put the pressure on by splitting up the team fight. Now, another thing I'm going to say is, if the comp was different, obviously I would not be screaming for Sam to split. If he's in a bad jungle matchup, hard to siege. Thing is, he's not in a bad jungle matchup. It's a Humbats, which is fine, unless you're Twig. Twig is a great Humbats 1v1 player, but Twig's just a good 1v1er. And he understands time, and he understands things like that. But what, in SCC and in lower leagues, look at your draft, look at their draft, think critically, because sometimes if you're just over here and you're taking another player out of this draft, that is more value than you going to a Fiesta siege. There's just 5 people just staring at each other. It is ridiculous. Yu Huang, very hard to siege into. Sure. I guess Maui, very hard to siege into, especially with this comp, disclaimer. But these guys are so transparent. Even CERN, so transparent. They are one-button gods. They can ult, that's all they can fucking do in these late game scenarios. And it's ridiculous that people with like 5 years SPL experience just can't see the map. Just can't, like, whatever. Whatever. This is a long one. I didn't want it to go for long. And I'm upset now. I've just ruined my whole fucking day. Whatever. Enjoy.